Whether it's the pills, whether it's drinking, whether it's women, you could fill that void with anything temporarily. But it's still going to be there. And it just deepens and it becomes more clear because even those things don't become enough. One woman isn't enough. Then you have to have three. You have to rotation. Keep cycling them out just to avoid whatever fucked up shit you got going on in there. You know, I don't think game is bad. I don't think being comfortable talking to people and women is bad. I think it's a good skill. But moderation needs to also be encouraged. When I see people promoting opulence of any kind, spend as much money as you can, get as many bitches, pop all the pills. It's like you already know where that destructive stuff goes.
I mean, in a way though, I'm like, you know, in the pickup artist space in general, like one of the things that I've seen from just sort of like observing people's channels and stuff is a lot of times it feels like a lot of the guys involved in this space are kind of like just showing off for each other.
Do you know the emotion you're showing on your face right now?
What?
It's disgust.
When I see these, not them, but like other people, when I've seen people just bragging about what their lay count is and shit, I'm like, bro, this is weird to me because if you were a guy who was really concerned with like maximizing how much ass you're getting, you wouldn't be out here making YouTube videos like saying I fucked 1,500 girls. And even if that's true, like that's cool. Maybe you could somehow still manage getting girls and also bragging about this absurd amount of girls you slept with. But it just really kind of comes off as like showing off for the dudes and not really actually being good at that. And also I feel like at some point it needs to be acknowledged that it's probably not the best thing for you as a human being to be trying to have sex with women on this like industrial scale where you're like just fucking every fucking girl on earth. Like this is not good for your soul.
He's about to say it's not good for your soul. I addressed this several times, man, several videos, guys, and it's not going to bring you peace. You think it's, you know, the media, these YouTubers make you think it's the thing to do, but bro, it's not going to bring you peace, man. And you're just going to be jumping from woman to woman, trying to create memories, go through the BS, the headache, all this stuff. And it is taking you really away from your purpose in life. If you think that's your purpose in life, come on, man.
Is one thing I would like to just point out. And I say that as a person who has a lot of indiscriminate sex throughout my life. And continue to.
The consequences of fucking around all the time don't get talked about enough. It's very difficult to have purpose in life and to also be gluttonous when it comes to sex.
I agree.
I had no balance in my life. It was very hard to feel any sense of calmness and peace. You got women coming in and out of your apartment.
Right.
You're doing it all the time. You're spending like 5 hours of your day sometimes taking her out to dinner or sleeping with her, and you're like, damn, I didn't put any of that time in my work. It's hard to have any balance. What about my friends and family? They're starting to take a back burner because the hot girl just hit me up on Instagram. It's like to see people glorify that. I be telling people like, do it if you want to do it. But I'm also going to just tell you, it ain't all it's, when everyone talks about it, fucking 3 girls in one day, all that other bullshit, it sounds great on paper. Trust me, when you do it, you won't be thinking, I'm a fucking champ. And if you do, you need to reassess your values.
Just to put your dick in different pussies. It's like, it's not that, this is not like the great.
You did the roll of the dice shit. Yo, you'll realize soon enough, man. And guys who are still doing, you wonder why the most celebrities and basketball players, sports entertainers, all these, why are they settled down when you really think about it, guys? Why do they have spouses? Why do these guys get married? Why are these celebrities getting married? And they have access to endless women.
This thing in the world that you're aspiring to.
How many times you raw dog? Yeah. Exactly. Now, I'm going to keep it a buck with you. I'm so happy I came out of the game clean. Because I know.
Oh, yeah.
You know, I know people who the first time they fucked around, they got herpes. I'm like, God damn. Me, I know somebody's looking out for me.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not be religious, but there's got to be some higher power. You feel what I'm saying? Because just to come out of it clean, I'm just like, no kids. You know? Think about that. Just having a random sex encounter with somebody and you have a kid with that person, it's like now you're having to raise this child in a confrontational, awkward environment, and you're going to have to live with that your whole life. The consequences of fucking around are so high. And so I'm just grateful that I made it out when I did. But what you're talking about with like just every time you're rolling dice, especially when you're hitting it raw, you know, so I just tell people be careful because sometimes you're gonna catch the wrong one.
Like this is my comparison that I would like compare it to is I very much understand why people would get into bodybuilding. Healthy's fun, trying to get bigger and stronger. It's fun. But then when you get to the extreme end of the spectrum, you have, professional bodybuilders who are shooting huge amounts of testosterone into their ass or taking all these crazy drugs. They don't do anything in life because they got to eat 18 meals a day, etc. And you can see how that all comes from this one desire to get your bench press up a bit, or you want to get some.
It's an obsession. That's an obsession also, but at the end of the day, they look at it as purpose, discipline, and obsession. Really, whether obviously they're getting something out of it. No, I'm saying for the guys, obviously he's likening it to that, which I can understand where he's going. But for the guys who are actually consciously pursuing multiple women over and over for new sex partners, unless you are a celebrity, that shit's going. I don't care who you let these guys fool you. It becomes costly after a while, guys. It's not cheap being a player. It's not cheap at all. Not at all.
Girls, so you want to get your arms bigger, whatever. And then at the extreme end of that spectrum, you have people doing things that are clearly horrible for them based on that initial desire to get bigger and stronger. When I see the extremes of the pickup artist stuff, and there's a lot of rappers and stuff who are like this too, where they feel like they need to fuck 30 new girls a week to be happy or whatever. It's bro, it comes from something honest and understandable, which is everybody wants to be able to feel like if they like a girl that they can walk up to her and have a conversation with her and make that girl like them too. Very basic human desire that a lot of guys are just not familiar with. I remember there was a time period in my life when I first found that book, The Game, and I read that shit cover to cover, and I was like, wow, that actually just really helped inform me a lot on a lot of what I'm going through, which is just basically having the insecurity of not being able to talk to a girl the way that I want to be able to. But then you end up a professional bodybuilder in the end, where if you just feel like this is what life is about, is just putting your dick as many pussies as possible, I mean, it's not the end of the fucking road.
I'm sure you've had sex where you're like, why am I here?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
If you haven't had that, then I don't know, guys. That's one of those things where, especially if you're doing it, if you're having sex consistently with multiple women, a lot of those times you will come to a point where you're like, why am I here? Why, even on a date or going out with, or even talking with a woman, you're like, what am I doing here? This is such a waste of time. This is such a waste of life. What am I really doing here?
You start to realize there was no purpose to this other than ego.
Yeah,
ego, or you just got some inside fucking broken. So you whether it's the pills, whether it's drinking, whether it's women, you could fill that void with anything temporarily, but it's still going to be there, and it just deepens and it becomes more clear, because even those things don't become enough. One woman isn't enough, that you have to have three. You have to rotation, keep cycling them out just to avoid whatever fucked up shit you got going on in there. I don't think game is bad. I don't think being comfortable talking to people and women is bad. I think it's a good skill, but moderation needs to also be encouraged. When I see people promoting opulence of any kind, spend as much money as you can, get as many bitches, pop all the pills, it's like you already know where that destructive stuff goes. Even violence, it's like violence has to be tempered. That's why martial artists need balance. That's why they say don't take violence lightly. Martial artists, the people who are the best at it, tell you about discipline. How can you call yourself a proud man, an alpha man, or whatever, but you lack discipline in life? You're just out here fucking left, right, and center, fucking up with your bag.
That discipline, you got to master those 4 things. I'm gonna try to link that video at the end. You got to master finances, your sexual desires, your appetite. Those are some things that you have to master, guys. You got to master those things. It's about that discipline.
Fucking the wrong employees, fucking the wrong bosses, fucking the wrong contractors, because you can't. How are you gonna be successful?
And your emotions. That's the 4th one. Sorry. Master your emotions.
You're going to fuck up every opportunity. You're going to fuck up every single opportunity. Guys who don't know how to control themselves are liabilities. And this is not even just on a business tip. It's also on a personality tip. We all know dudes will do anything for pussy. Do they make for good friends?
Yeah.
You want a friend who's going to drop you and fucking miss things that...
And you guys need to check shit out like that too. A dude, any business partner, any business dealing, when you're dealing with your partner and he'll drop you for a woman when you got a task at hand that needs to be accomplished, and he just becomes unglued and loses it, and ditches you for a woman, yo, let that be the last time.
In your life because they want to go bang some broad? Like, what kind of ethics do you have where you're going to take a temporary little small experience over something profound that's happening? But people do it every day. I see guys like that all the time. I'm like, I don't even want you in my circle. I don't want to know you. So that's why I always find it very cringe when I see dudes who just constantly promote opulence and these fake lifestyles. I'm like, bruv, you're not teaching these young men things that are going to make them content in life, that are going to make them feel connected to people around them.
But it'll get you on the hamster wheel of always wanting more and feeling like you need more. And those are good consumers. Those are good people to buy stuff.
Great clients. Yeah. The best. You know, when someone messages me, he's like, yo, Ab, I'm grateful. You made me a better father. Or they're like, yo, Preach, I'm grateful. I have a better connection with my partner. That's something we're proudful of. Because you know what? Fucking 10 women in a week, that's a cool ego bragging experience. Lifelong building relationships, getting closer to your family, like, who wouldn't take that over being able to fuck 10 women? You know what I'm saying? So what we try to foster is like, yes, be comfortable, be confident, understand how to approach ladies. That's great. That's fantastic. But understand it's not everything in life.
Right.
How many guys do you know who are players, and how many of them are truly happy?
Right.
How many of them go home at the end and find peace in their lives? No, they always need more women. They always got to fuck some whores in some new city. They always got time you could have put in your purpose. Yeah. All that time you could have given back to the community where you came from and changed their lives. You know what kind of fulfillment that gives? To go back to places that you know are fucked up and you can change that, but instead you want to go fuck some bimbo? It's crazy to me. So that's why when I see people promoting this stuff and like, this is alpha. No, it's not. Being a leader of men has nothing to do with that.
Definitely not alpha. And like I said, you had guys, and I'm not going to say no names, says that you're not alpha, saying you're not, and there's multiple YouTubers, I'm not just pointing out one because I did a video on one of them. You're not alpha unless you've slept with at least 50 women. Some of them say 100 women. You're not alpha. Wow.
I've served under some of the best people. I've worked under great human beings. Yeah. Great human beings. And you know what they all had in common? They had to lead disciplined lives. Maybe they had a vice here and there, but they try to temper it as much as possible because it got in the way of their purpose. So, you know, I just think we all have to find that lane for ourselves. And I respect anybody who's hardworking. They do what they do, but have a reason for that. If you're just hardworking so you can go to Vegas and fuck a bunch of hookers, cool. But I'm never going to endorse that life over taking care of your family.
Yeah.
I just can't.
I remember right around the time this podcast started popping off, like 2016 or whatever, it was like, I was very much like having this newfound clout. I'm fucking a new girl every night. I'm really feeling like this is supposed to be what makes me happy because, you know, I kind of wanted to be able to do that for a long, long time prior to that. You know, I didn't really like get successful until I'm like 32 or whatever. And,
sounds familiar, but he's no dating coach either. You know, a lot of guys who didn't have access to these things, and that's their lifelong dream to achieve this status, to be able to smash and dash. Look at Adam. I think Adam's like my age. He's like 37, 38, I think. And he's already settled down. He's got a girlfriend, even though he does adult stuff as well, but, you know, and he's got a kid.
I remember then, like, I got sick. And just realizing that, like, I've got like 20 girls on my phone that I've slept with in the last month, and none of them seem like a realistic candidate to come over and take care of me while I'm sick because I didn't have a fucking emotional relationship with any of them because I was just working my ass off and just basically using them for fucking their bodies, more or less. And it just like, I remember that feeling really bad and dark and realizing just how lonely I was and how I was trying to cover it up with all of these indiscriminate relationships, you know?
Yeah. And when you talk about this, guys are like, whatever, man, I'm like, do it. But I just want you to know, if you start to get to that feeling, it's okay to walk away. Because what you described, like, I understand that 100%.
Yeah. Because if you are at the point in your life where you walk into a bar and there's all these beautiful women and you don't feel like you can talk to any of them, or if you try to talk to them and you're in that part of your life, it feels like, oh, it'd be way better to have sex with 100 women than 10 women. And I get that for sure. For me, I'm at the point where I'm like comfortable enough with myself that I feel like if I was single, you know, I meet women fucking all the time that like clearly would just be down to sleep. And it's like, you know, I don't feel that same extreme urge to prove myself. A lot of it is not partying or drinking anymore. I remember I was in Vegas for the porn awards and I'm sitting on the fucking bus and I'm not drinking. And there's this girl wilding out in front of us on this party bus type thing. You know, she's clearly on Molly or something. She's fucking tweaking, dancing. She's hot, whatever. And I'm just like realizing, like, if I was 6 drinks in, or if I had been snorting coke all day, I would be looking at this girl like she's a fucking opportune sex partner. And instead, I'm sitting here looking at her like, oh, this poor girl, like, she's really wilding out. I would be so in the wrong if I were to sleep with this girl in this state. But that would have seemed.
And that's what abundance brings you to that point a lot of times, or already having that, or knowing that you have that abundance mindset. Obviously, at this point, he already has that.
Totally fucking normal to me my whole life up till the point where I stopped drinking, you know?
Yeah. When you know, as you get older too and you've done a lot, you realize also a lot of it's just not worth it. You're just like, you already know what the outcome is. So you're just like, ugh.
Yeah.
You know, it's just, ugh. And so that feeling you describe when you see that person wilding out and you just like, I get that all the time when people are like trying to start something. I'm like, I've done it. I'm not interested. This is like, I know it's not going to do anything for me. So all these things that people are clamoring for, I'm like, it's not worth the work.
Yeah.
It was when I was younger, because when I was younger, I was like, please touch me. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And then if it did, I was like, wow. Nowadays, I'd rather just sit at home, maybe watch a good show, maybe work on some stuff, have a conversation with the person I live with. You know what I'm saying?
Well, your business would not be what it is if you had if you were spending huge amounts of your time. Like when I hear people talk about going on.
And this is true, man. The time that you spend, where you spend most of your time at, that's what's going to flourish. Or I don't want to say flourish. What you spend most of your time on or with, that is what will grow, or that's what will basically fail at the end of the day. You know what I'm saying? A lot of times, if you're spending time with friends and they're not really going anywhere, or you're spending time with women and it's not really doing anything for you, your business life or that part of your life is going to suffer a lot of times. You know what I'm saying? So the more time you gear and you have to build things up, which is what guys should be concentrating and focusing on at the end of the day.
Multiple dates per day and shit. I'm like, Jesus Christ, I'm working like probably at least like 8-10 hours a day. The idea that I'm gonna cram the remaining hours with like going out to a bar or like going to I mean, no, it's not gonna work.
Yeah, and there's a reason why lust is one part of the 7 deadly sins. It's like, you understand that excess is very, very dangerous.
Yeah.
It is. And how many men has it ruined?
Right.
How many men have been ruined by the fact that they can't control their dick? It happens. So many guys. And sometimes not justified, but still, it's like, it's such a risk to just go out there. So I just tell young dudes, like, you know, you don't have to be on the streets. I know they promote it. I know everyone says it's the best thing in the world. It's not everything it's chopped up to be. And also, guess what? You don't need it to have a functional relationship. You don't need it to have a relationship with a good woman. It's not necessary. So I think sometimes people sell everyone on there's one way to do stuff, and it's just not true. It's not true. So that's the main thing with me in that whole sphere. It's like, it's great that people want to learn game. They want to get more comfortable. I endorse that. I've always promoted that. But don't promote gluttony.
Yeah.
That's it.
I feel that for sure. Yeah, I mean, like, the extent of like how much happier I am now being in a relationship, having somebody I can rely on, having a fucking baby that I get to watch grow up every day is just, I mean, it's not even close.
Not close.
It's not close.
Because they're just like, I need to do it. They really believe it's that. And I think it takes more men to be honest about it and to be very candid about the fact that I'm not even just saying it because it's PC or whatever. I'm saying it because I lived it. Right. I've watched my friends live it because they asked me for advice and they went through it. And I'm like, this is what's going to happen, but go do it so you can see. And they all go through the same trajectory. If they have any kind of character and they want to improve in life, there's no way you can stay doing that and think it's a good idea.
And the number, like, you think it's hard to find a woman to have sex with? Think about how hard it is to find a woman that you trust and respect enough that you want to put a baby inside her.
He said a mouthful. Find a woman to respect. A lot of guys putting babies in women they don't respect at all. But to find a woman that you trust and that you really want to marry is something completely different, man. It's definitely not easy out here, man.
I mean, I can understand why guys don't necessarily gravitate towards that, because if you're having a hard time getting laid in the first place, that's also going to be very difficult.
What's life for guys who get the wrong woman pregnant?
Yeah.
And that's the rest of their lives. It's the rest of their lives. I see people close to me and how much they suffer. I see it in friends and family. And then the kids suffer. People don't even think about that. How much the kids suffer from that dynamic as well. So to me, just understand what the stakes are too. It's hard because your dig is hard and the girl's beautiful. She's right in front of you. But understand them stakes. I'm lucky. I'm fortunate to be here today where I'm at without any of these downsides. But I'm not going to keep going back in to roll some chips just to find out how it's going to go.
Right.
It just takes one wrong incident and then you're fucked. The wrong person to come to you and set you up for a robbery. The wrong person to come to you and set you up with a pregnancy. The wrong person to come up to you and then put a case on you.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Like, those are all real possibilities. So understand that when you're out there and you're being gluttonous, understand you heighten that every single time you roll that dice.
The same way, once you achieve a certain level of success, letting random people into your home or into your life period becomes a huge concern, huge risk of like, I don't want this person to know where I live because they might send somebody out to rob me. I don't want this person to know where I live because who knows what they could have in for me. And then once you start looking at the world like that, once you've been wronged a few times, you can start to think like, how insane is it for me to welcome somebody that I barely know into my home and do the most intimate thing possible with them and just assume that everything's going to be all right? And you don't have cameras in your room, presumably that would be illegal if you did, but you don't have surveillance that could prove that your side of the story is right. I mean, you don't want to allow anyone to have that much control over you, so you should be really careful with who you let have that kind of control.
That's on an extreme end. What do you think home represents for you?
Escape from all the other shit that I'm doing.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Right? So your home, you can finally be yourself.
Yeah.
I'm going to take it on even like a more basic level. You've had experiences where you brought a girl home, y'all slept together, and home isn't home right now because she's beside you.
Yeah.
How fast do you want to get her out of your place?
Hell yeah.
Right? Because you can't be in this space beside this person because you're like, I want to escape, but the place I normally escape to, you're fucking inside.
Yeah.
And so I tell people, like, your home is supposed to be peace, man. And you shed that when you bring these random people into your life. So for me, that's why I tell people, like, above everything, it's like I just value the peace of my life. I love being at home. I love being at home. People talk about, you don't want to travel all the time, Abby, with all this. I don't want to travel. I like being at home. I like seeing the same park bench. I like seeing the same people. Like, I fucking love it. I'm tired of being in a hotel room or in an Airbnb. So I value that, and I just don't want to ruin that for myself at any point. I never want to have to leave that because somebody else I invited came to fuck it up. You ever had a girl go crazy in your place?
Oh, yeah.
A whole scene starts, and you're...
And they won't care either. You say the wrong thing, all that police, all that stuff, yo, you don't want to deal with women like that, man. Trust me.
Like, damn, it just fucks it up for you. So I want to maintain that peace, and that's it.